Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you? I'm in such a good mood because I'm here today with Kat Linquist. She's my sister up north in San Diego, California, up in the northern part. I'm a little bit southern. I am down near Mexico. But she is a transformational coach that helps people that have been adopted. Isn't that wonderful? Now, she can work with anybody. But this is really her zone of genius because she understands that. And I always have thought and believed that when you're adopted, you're chosen. You know, you sometimes when you're regular born into your birth family, that's a lottery. You get what you get. But when some family takes the time to love, nurture, plan, prepare, and pick you out, that's wonderful. But we're going to talk about some of the challenges because it's not always that way for everybody. Sometimes they get a family of booger wolves. And then the longing and the searching for your biological to answer those questions, to color in those white spaces, to put that round peg in a square hole. They want to know who they belong to. So she's going to talk to us about that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Kat?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, April. I am so thrilled to be here.
So she said she's so thrilled, Brains. Did you hear that? Well, I'm happy to have you. We're still going to meet up north at the meditation garden, Brains. Let me
Yes,
tell
we
you,
are.
there's this cliff, and it's a meditation garden in Encinitas, and it overlooks the ocean. And about 5:30, 6 o'clock, when that sun goes down, it is transformational for real. Don't you agree?
I do. It's amazing here on the Pacific Coast.
It is amazing. So you're amazing too. Tell
Thank
my Brains how
you.
you show up in the world.
How I show up. Wow. I show up as authentically and real as
Mm.
I can be. It's been a long journey. I'm across decades really to come to this place. Um, Through the adoption space, there is a feeling. I think it's an inherent feeling, whether you have a good upbringing, a positive adoptive family experience or not, there's always a longing and always a part of you that feels like it's missing. And there's an internal search that goes on starting very young, where you're constantly looking, is that a family member? Is that a family member? Could that person be?
Mm.
Even when you're dating somebody, you're like, what if they turned out to be a
Right. Is that
cousin?
my brother? Is that
Is
my
that my
cousin?
brother? You're like, I don't know.
Well, I found a brother last year, actually, through
Wow.
a DNA test that my friend had given me as a gift. And I kept getting this email from this guy. And I'm like, dude, really? And he goes, I didn't know our father. And I said, our father. And I knew my biological father was a Rolling Stone. Okay.
Got it.
He was quite the looker. And I looked in there and I saw the percentage and I said, oh my God. Well, you know, I had to Google him first. Okay.
Of course, gotta
I
be
Googled
safe.
him, I Facebooked him, everything. I wanted to find out what I was getting into, and I am enamored. I am so lucky. It's been a love fest ever since. He's a world traveler. He's a great guy. He flew down here
Oh,
to meet me. It's been great. So tell us a
gorgeous.
little bit about your adoption experience.
So my adoption experience, I was adopted into a family. I was the younger sister with an older brother. And I grew up very middle class in Southern California. Throughout that experience, um, I want I, I want to honor my parents. My parents are still living and they are wonderful, wonderful parents. And truly they did the best they could. I want to also recognize that when adoption is on the table, that there's trauma, not only that experience from the child's point of view, from the relinquishing parent's point of view, but also from the adoptive parent's perspective. Because
Absolutely.
this, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, this is an experience where someone, especially in the 60s when I was born, where an identity of women during that period was to be wife and mother. And being a wife, you needed a husband, there's a husband, but to be a mother, you needed to have children. And for women who could not have their own children, there was no mental health support. There was no therapy. There was no real acknowledgement of the pain and the grief that a woman would go through, recognizing that she would not be able to give birth and have her own biological children.
And
It
you were,
was,
and a lot of women were shunned back then. Oh,
they
what's wrong with
were,
her? Or, when are you
right,
gonna have a baby? That's the first thing they ask you when you get married. Can I get married and be married 3, 4 months without you asking me when am I gonna have a baby? And
right.
also there was no IVF.
No, no,
You
not in
know,
the 60s.
you couldn't
So,
freeze your eggs. You couldn't have a donor. You couldn't have
no,
those options. So it was tough. It was tough.
it was
And you
really
were
tough.
judged. You were
Yes,
absolutely judged.
the judgment and then the self-guilt of there's something wrong with me. I'm a bad person. I'm unable to do this, so I'm broken. There's
Mm, mm,
pieces that
mm.
are broken inside for
Wow.
these women. And then they're paired with children who have experienced a traumatic separation from their own biology.
Hmm.
And you have these two traumatized people coming together trying to form a relationship, and it's challenging. It's very challenging. And growing up, we don't know that these are challenges. We just experience different interactions, different circumstances, and sometimes feelings that we don't always know where they come from. So
It's
I would say
epigenetic
that was a bit
because
of my, mhm.
you don't realize what the actual birth family epigenetics and trauma was.
No,
You
no,
don't
I didn't know
understand the
that.
reason why the birth mother had to put this child up for adoption.
Right.
Was it incest? Was it rape? Was it just because the family said, you know what, we're gonna send you away because you was
Yeah.
doing something you
You're
shouldn't have
too
been doing?
young.
You're too young. You can't take care of them. Or
Yeah,
there's a mother that said, back in the day, I remember my mother telling me because I was lucky about this, but you would have an aunt or an uncle. I mean, not an aunt, but pretty much an aunt or a grandmother that would take the child. If you had 3 or 4 children, you would give it to your sister because you couldn't do it.
right.
You couldn't do it. And there's still a separation, even though you're a part of that family.
It is.
They're saying, well, why didn't you raise me? A lot
That's
of
right.
times kids are having problems when the birth mother, gives the child to the birth father.
Mhm.
Fathers can raise children too,
Yes,
but
they can.
why didn't my mother? So there's a heavy weight
There
on
is.
women.
There absolutely is. And so that has been a part of my healing journey over the last 5 years specifically. Um, when and I realized as I was coming 10 years ago out of a very toxic, abusive marriage, that had a lot of repercussions from my adoption of not feeling good enough, not being worthy, feeling like I was broken. I didn't deserve to be loved. I didn't deserve to be treated well. There was a whole lot of things that manifest over a person's lifetime that they don't even recognize are interwoven with those adoption traumas, epigenetics, the things that are unseen and unspoken about. And
Was
that's
yours an open
something
adoption? Did they tell you that you were adopted, or was that something that was revealed at
I was
a
very
time?
fortunate that it was something I grew up with. So there was never a reveal. It was something I've always known. My parents were very open about it. They were supportive, said if you ever want to find your biological family, we support you in that, whatever you need. They really there was no hiding. There
That's
was no
powerful.
hiding. And I'm so grateful for that. So very
But it
grateful for
still
that.
puts you on a mind trip.
It does. It does.
No?
And so through my healing journey, I became a transformation coach. And as I started learning how to do transformative processes, my adoption trauma started coming up, bubbling up. I didn't even know it was there. I didn't know how deep it went, how much it was impacting me until I started doing different levels of work, and I was able to clear and restore my alignment with myself and understand that when I learned how to love myself, accept myself for who I am, and understand that I'm a gift, just as you said in the beginning, that I'm a gift here on this planet. I chose to come into this life. And why did I choose to come into this life? I'm still figuring out a little bit, but I truly believe it's to demonstrate the resiliency of adoptive people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll tell you, April, not only have I survived adoption, I have survived toxic narcissism, I have survived domestic violence, and now I'm a breast cancer survivor.
Mm-hmm.
If I can survive all that and I can wake up every morning with joy and love in my heart and be excited about what I'm doing and where I'm going and just being who I am, every adoptee has this capacity.
They do, but I wrote some notes here because it's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cover you being a transformational coach in the end.
Okay.
You've got adoptions in blended families. The family
Mhm.
dynamic is not what it was in the 60s.
No, it's not.
Got two mamas, you got two daddies,
Mhm.
you have a mama that wants to be a daddy or a daddy that wants to be a mama. You got kids that are non-binary that don't want to be either one.
That's right.
You've so blending that family
Hmm.
is tough
It is.
because you've got the societal norms,
Yes.
which is not normal or what we perceived as being normal. It is a new inclusion or a new separation. So you got to deal with that individual. You got the
Absolutely.
mixed race.
Hmm.
A lot of people, they go to Africa and they get these cute little kids from Ghana or Zimbabwe or whatever, and they living in Ohio. Your child go to school and it's the only piece of pepper in the salt shaker.
That's right.
Not familiar with the hair texture, not familiar with the culture, not can't have that conversation because it's not a lived experience.
Exactly.
Okay, but we're still a family, I get that. And other countries,
Mhm.
they go to Russia,
Mhm.
get these kids that have, or Ukraine now,
Yep.
or Haiti, that
Mhm.
have been traumatized, war torn, seen their parents die, shipped off to these places, maybe human trafficked. We don't know what that is.
That's
So
right.
it can really be a handful.
And
And here you are, a transformational coach. How are you able to help somebody transfer into mainstream, acculturate, and assimilate? What do you do? How do you work with them?
the way I work with people is I first start with who they are as an energetic being.
Hmm.
For me, when we look at our physicality, we look at I'm a physical being in this world. I'm born, I'm what's called a human being. I go a step beyond that and I say, I believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Mhm.
So, first and foremost, I'm a spiritual being. And all this physical stuff, everything that you just talked about, is all rooted in the physical. So, what I help people do is to step back a little bit from this physicality and to go inward to find their spiritual self, their energetic self, that divine part of who they are and who they came into this world to be. And I help them to align with that part of them. So once they're aligned energetically,
Mm-hmm.
they can begin to align physically.
Okay.
What I find a lot of adoptees want to do is they want to go on that search of who are my biological parents? Where did I come from? What is my culture? What is my, what are all these physical things? Because these are the things that feel out of place, that feel disconnected,
That they can
that
identify and grab hold to
they
right
can
away.
see, right? It's that I can see it, smell it, hear it, taste it, touch it. But what I do is take them on the internal journey.
Mm.
And the internal journey, when we do that first, all the rest of it, everything else outside of us is a mirror and a reflection of what we carry inside. So if we're disconnected and we don't know who we are energetically or spiritually, that tends to come out as a lot of chaos, a
Mm-hmm,
lot of
mm-hmm,
uncertainty, a
mm-hmm.
lot of doubt, a lot of fear. And that manifests physically in our world, in our experience, whether it starts in our birth experience or later in life, all of that, it's an inside out job.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the inside work. I help people do that internal work, and then they start to move forward into the external with a groundedness and an alignment,
Mm-hmm.
knowing who they are internally.
Right.
That's how
Being
I,
able to plant some roots to say, you know
yes,
what, no matter what the outside world or outside influences say, or the universe attracts to me, I know who I am.
exactly.
Okay.
Because
That's
that's the
powerful.
biggest question of adoptees is, who am I? My birth certificate that, I'll take myself as an example. My birth certificate from the state of California is what's called an amended birth certificate, and my adoptive parents' names are listed on my birth certificate
Mm,
as if they gave birth to me.
mm.
My records are sealed in the state of California, and I have to go to a court and a judge with a reasonable request as to why I need those records unsealed. That has taken away my quote identity as a person, as the human part of me, because all of that information has been hidden away. That's why I take people on the energetic journey first. Because once you know who you are energetically, then you have a better grounding for how you want to move forward into the other piece. And it doesn't have to go a particular way. It doesn't have to complete you. That was my journey when I came to a place where I recognized who I was internally, who I am as a spiritual being. And then I made the decision to go searching for my biological family from a place of, oh, it would be really fun to go down this road of the DNA test and see what turns up, to go through my ancestry account and try to match my third cousin, which we share a great grandparent. And then how do you weave that down to see if I can find my family? And I could do all that from a place of not needing it to fix me, not needing it to fill any holes, not needing it to complete me. It was just fun and curious.
Okay. So you've got all that together.
Yeah,
But then when you identify and recognize the person that you are now, that's an adjustment as well.
it
And I would
is.
like to bring that to people's attention that, I had a girlfriend that lost 130 pounds and she didn't process that very well
Yeah,
because that was a whole person that she lost.
it was a whole person.
And that was her
Yeah,
identity. That is her societal norms. That is how people greeted her. That was her relationships. That's who she knew she was.
right.
Now she's identifying with something else. What do you say to the person that now is woke?
Mhm. So part of moving into that woke place is shifting your identity. And it really is embracing that part of you, that energetic part of you, and that part of your identity. I actually have a whole process that I work with people on shifting into their deeper identity. It's not just our physical identity, it's not just our human identity, it is our overall identity. And I know that the brains that are out there that are really listening and wanting to know, how do I become the person that I was meant to be, that I was born to be? It is coming into alignment with the spiritual, the physical, and what those identities mean for you. And that's a lot of the work that I do.
Sometimes it's convoluted
It can be.
because now you have also a religious doctrine in a lot of people's lives
Yeah.
that they have to conform to that ritual. Okay. Brains, I tell you all the time, spirituality and religion, they're sisters, but they're
Yeah.
not the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing.
No.
And you want to ascend from one to the other. I'm not taking away anybody's religious beliefs or
Right.
doctrines or disciplines. I'm not extracting that. But it's time for you to incorporate something else in that recipe for success, because that is man made. In my opinion, and yes, I'll say it, religion is a form of brainwash. It was a way and it was designed to keep us under control. Okay. But when you rise to that next frequency, you're in the outer limits. You are with source energy. You are with the creator of all.
That's right.
Okay. I can taste it on my tongue. So, please don't get crunchy with me because I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. If it's working for you, if you like it, I love it. I don't have a problem with it. But I'm just telling you the real deal.
Yeah.
Because there is something greater than that.
I agree.
And it's joy. And
Yeah.
it's joy. The soul wants to be joyful.
It does. And I truly believe that's our birthright, April. We are born as into our physical beings to manifest joy in
That's
this life. We are the only species on this planet. Well, not, I shouldn't say that. We are the predominant species of this planet that plays with art and music and things on our own realm.
right.
I'm sure there are many other species that do play and things in their own way. And you see it in cats and dogs and all kinds of beautiful beings out there. But the level that we take joy in creating just for the purity of creating is amazing. And it truly is our birthright to come into this physical world, enjoy all that we have been given in this physical world we call Earth, and to manifest joy every day that we wake up, whether you're cooking breakfast for your family, whether you're going out for a run, whether you're working the stock market, whatever it is, whatever you do, bring joy to it. Bring joy to others.
Well,
And this is,
there's a lot of people that want to be ugly. They think that
there
that's
are.
attractive. They
Yeah.
think it's attractive, but I'm gonna tell you, brains, it gives you wrinkles.
I agree.
And it is going to impact your physical health because
Yes.
everything comes from the nucleus.
Yeah.
I'm studying nutrition now, so I think I'm really super smart.
Right.
But with that, it comes from the core. And you can change that. Your DNA comes from genomics. What your grandmother's grandmother went down because they taught these behaviors.
They did.
And so we don't know what your mother, biological mother, might have been subjected to, that she had to make the choice that she had.
That's
Maybe
right.
her mother told her, or we don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or your grandmother, what was she taught?
Yeah.
So we have to look at all of these dynamics, but we cannot make that who we are,
That's
because
right.
everybody comes here with their own soul contract,
Yes, we do.
and you have to fulfill that soul contract.
Mhm.
And some people have it easy, some people have it tough,
Mhm.
but it's what you signed up for, whether you believe it or not. It's what you signed up for and what you have to fulfill.
That's right.
you
That's
know
yeah.
I had one guest on my show, and she worked with families after these mass murders
Mm.
in the schools and
Wow.
at the concerts, and she would go in and I said, well, what do you the first thing you do? She said, the first thing I do is just listen and hold space for them. There's nothing else I can do, she said. But when a child is killed at 5 years old, we don't understand it, but that was a part of their contract.
Right.
That was something that was unfulfilled. And it
Mhm.
took me a minute, but when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, wow, you got a person. I asked my mother, I said, Mommy, how was it being 90 years old? She said, it's the pits.
Mhm.
I said, it's the pits. She says, yeah. I said, well, I don't ever want you to die. She said, would you like me to be the only person left here? So you have to put it in perspective.
You
So you
do.
have to do the very best that you can and love on
Right.
yourself while you are here. So,
Absolutely.
Kat, I want to ask you some fun questions.
Yeah.
I want people to get to know you a little bit better outside of
Awesome.
the work that you do, because that's amazing work.
Thank you.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Absolutely.
I do too.
I actually know several of my past lives.
Mm, okay. All right. Do you believe that there are alternative species? Do you believe that there's other, for lack of a better term, aliens? Do you think that there's other life
Absolutely.
forms?
We are not alone in this universe. There are so many universes. We don't even know them all.
No.
How could there not be?
Right. That's what I tell people too. Oh no, I said, well, you're
Yeah,
playing
there's
small.
just too much out there. We are not the only ones.
Yeah, you're playing small, Marge. That's what I tell them. Absolutely. If you could pick a planet, where would you be from?
Oh, if I could pick a planet,
Yeah. We'll say our galaxy, what we
in
know
our
so far.
galaxy, wow, that's what I would say. I would say I'm from Mars.
Yeah.
Mm, I actually connect with Mars
Okay.
as a spiritual entity.
Hmm.
So I have a really big connection with that. And I feel that there's a terraform of Mars that it resonates
Yeah.
internally. I can't really describe it, but it feels right. It feels I'm still in this galaxy, I'm still in this solar system. I'm nearby.
Okay. Well, you need
I'm
to get
nearby.
on that list for SpaceX, because
I know.
they
I
they
know.
taking people on trips if you got enough money. That's crazy. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you
Mm,
be?
wow. I would be what came to mind was a rolling pin.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
So you're
But
the
it
first rolling
so
pin.
so what I feel is like a rolling pin helps to shape and to move, to transform ingredients. There's an alchemy in baking. And in the rolling pin, there's a flow and a motion that
Hmm.
it's an easy, gentle, there's nothing harsh about it.
Right.
And it moves and transforms the material into a shape and a structure that you can then blossom from.
That. I love that. I change mine from day to day. Today I want to be the whisk,
Ooh,
because
yeah,
it makes it fluffy
blending
and it
everything
breaks
together.
everything. It brings it all together.
Yep.
And it's a certain motion.
Yes. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
another flowing
Yeah,
motion with the
exactly.
wrist.
You got to
Yeah.
be in motion. You don't stir with the whisk. You got to beat.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
got to
There's
do it.
there's a rhythm to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you were an animal, what animal
Well,
would you
my
be?
spirit animal is a hummingbird. Um,
Oh,
so I would.
my husband has a love affair with,
Mm,
and he named her Summer Blossom. She comes and actually perches on his shoulder.
I'm not surprised.
I
They're
told her, if she
amazing.
don't get away from my nectar,
What I love about hummingbirds is they are the only animal or the only bird that flies backwards,
Hmm.
and they are the fastest bird
They are.
alive.
And I
So,
can't believe how big this one is. You know, you usually see them, they're kind of small.
mhm.
She's pretty big.
Really?
She's pretty, and
Very nice.
she
Oh,
comes, she
I would
loves
love to
our,
see a picture. You'll have to get a picture next time.
yeah, I'm gonna work on that for sure.
Nice.
She comes and she loves our birds of paradise.
Ooh, yes, I have those out in front too. We have hummingbirds around here all the time.
She loves those. She loves
Yeah,
those.
nice.
If you could have a conversation with a Kat Linquist at 20 years old, what would you say to her?
It's all gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. And whatever you're going through right now, just trust that when you come to another place, you're gonna look back and see everything that you go through and understand the blessing and the reason. And there's no judgment on whatever it is that you're facing right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no judgment,
Okay.
and you're loved.
And that's
You're
fair.
loved.
That's fair. What do you say to the person that is in the thralls of trying to figure out their identity um, because of an adoptive situation? What words of encouragement do you have for them?
I would say the biggest piece is have grace and be gentle with yourself and also with the others involved in the experience. Your birth mother and your adoptive mother in particular. There's the female energy of adoption is very palpable. And while there is trauma that happens on both male and female participants, I believe that most of the trauma that we experience in the adoption constellation is with the child and the mothers. And so to understand that both women who are part of your experience have experienced trauma and to allow them a level of grace and compassion, regardless of what your experience is.
And speak to the male because there's a lot of men, and I know one that might be running for office. They have mommy issues,
Yes.
deep rooted mommy issues.
Yeah.
The mother is the first woman that you fall in love with,
Right.
and you place her on a pedestal. She's
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be able to do no wrong. And when you are given away or pushed away, because everybody's not meant to be a mother either.
That's right.
Brains. Okay. You see some in the animal kingdom eat their young. They do. I'm not
Yeah,
lying.
it's true.
I'm not
It's
lying.
true.
Everybody ain't with the program. You
Yeah.
know, you get all excited. Oh, the baby get to
That's
crying
not
and
wrong.
scratching, and or they're sick, or you sick. It's not that way.
No.
So, what do you say to the male that's struggling?
I think again, just understanding there's an internal part of you, there's the divine part of you that as you go into yourself, you recognize we all have male and female, we all have masculine and feminine. And the feminine aspects of your outer world, the women who were either put on the pedestal or who fell off the pedestal or whatever it is, loved you, didn't love you, whatever your perception of that experience might be, it truly comes down to can you give compassion to both yourself and to others? Can you put yourself in another's shoes? Can you see how whatever the experience was that you had may have been the best possible decision that they could make in the moment, and not judge them from where you stand today as an adult and where you think they should be now as an older adult.
Because once you've lived, I say 10 years,
Mhm.
you are going to experience some sort of trauma if it's nothing but a broken finger.
That's right.
And you are going to look to someone that you have an expectation. And that's a very big $25 word.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you have
Yeah.
an expectation, but that is your expectation of what you expect somebody else to do, what you expect for them to conform, what you expect for them to be like Bobby's mom or Jimmy's brother, or, you know, uh, they don't have the equipment all the time.
Right.
They don't maybe want to do it.
Mhm.
They have a right to live their life and be who they are without conforming to what your rules and regulations are.
Absolutely.
Trust is another big $25 word.
Yeah.
I'm not very trusting. I'll
Mhm.
tell people I'm nice, but you don't start out, yeah, but you don't start out with 100% with me. Oh, no. You get
Right.
about 65, move
Yeah.
towards 70, because you have to earn that.
Mhm.
Because trust is conditional.
Yes.
Okay. I trust you if you do XYZ.
Mhm.
If you conform to what I think is best, if you go along to get along, if you say what I'm going to say, if you do what I tell you to do, then I trust you. If you don't come home at 6 o'clock and it's 9:30, where you been? I don't trust you. It's all of these conditions,
It is.
and it's hard because that is what judgment. I
Mhm.
tell people too, when they say, "Are you non-judgmental?" No, I'm judgmental. I'm not saying I keep it real with my brains.
That's right.
I'm not saying that my judgment is going to hurt you or whatever, but I'm gonna look at you sometime with a side eye
That's right. I
because
mean,
it's based upon my experience. I've seen this train wreck before. I see how you treat other people, how you talk to other people. You don't have to do it to me to know that it's not right. Like you said, you went through a period you had domestic violence.
yeah.
Can't you see that train coming again?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you put up the stop sign. You said, whoa, 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 whoa.
Absolutely. Nope, 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 not going
And
there.
then sometimes you may prejudge. Now,
Mhm.
that's a totally different thing. You may
That is.
prejudge a situation. But once I've got my stake in the ground,
Yeah,
you best believe I'm not going to waver
that's right.
because it's safe. And so when you are looking for your families, your
Mhm.
birth family, when you are incorporating these new individuals in your life, when you're extracting who you are to these other individuals in your life, you better gauge your senses.
Mhm.
They got to pass the sniff test,
That's right.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's
No,
nothing
there's
wrong with
not.
that because you're building a relationship.
You
You're
are.
building the trust.
Yes,
You're setting expectations.
that's right.
Well, we could talk about this for hours because
Oh, for hours.
don't
Yes.
get it. They don't get it. They just, they're just so stuck in the I conversation.
Yes.
But there's no I and we.
No.
And if you want these people in your life, you're gonna have to be vulnerable and you're gonna have to come with your hands open. You're
Yeah.
gonna get what you're gonna get. And then it's not always gonna be a bed of roses. You might get
That's right.
some thorns.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people do. And I think that especially for adult adoptees who are go into finding their biological family, they go in with an expectation of you're going to fix me.
Mm,
You're
mm,
going to fix
mhm,
my trauma by
mhm,
finding you. That's going to complete me and you're going to fix my trauma. And with that expectation, a lot of adoptees find their biological family doesn't do that,
mhm,
can't do that,
mhm,
doesn't want to do that. When I found my birth mother, we took it very, very slow. If there were weeks or months in between our messages, I didn't worry about it. I didn't get all wadded up going, oh, well, she's abandoning me again. Oh,
mm,
she's ignoring me.
mm,
I
mhm,
have to recognize this is a grown woman who has grown children and grandchildren. She has an entire life of her own. And I
mhm,
show up 50 years later as her daughter saying, hi, I'm here.
I'm the
Now what?
explainable. I'm the one you got to explain. They may not
Right,
even know.
right. And I waited 3.5 years until we met in person. It took us 3.5 years to meet in person.
Mm, mm, mm.
And I waited that long to ask my origin stories. I
Mm.
waited to know, did you have a name for me? What was it like being in the hospital after they took me away from you? What was your experience leading up to my birth? I waited and I built a relationship on, hey, looks like you're having a cute time with your dog on Facebook.
Mhm.
Hey, here's some things going on in my life. Here's some things about my daughter, your granddaughter. Here's some things
You
about,
know what I noticed too? A lot of times is, and maybe this is an assumption on my part, the adopted child wants the biological parent to grieve.
yes,
They want them to feel this massive amount of grief.
yes. And
They
they
want you
already
to
do.
mourn. Yeah, they want you to mourn.
Yes.
Again, this might have been a situation where the child is saying, the person is saying, I'm going to give my child to these families. One
Mhm.
thing I don't understand it. It's never happened to me. Surrogates.
Yeah,
I don't know how in the world you can carry a baby for 9 months. I just don't know.
I don't
And
know.
say, okay, this was your, and I was the vessel, I was the portal that it came through
Right.
here.
Yeah,
I'm not cut out for that.
I'm not
But
either.
there is there's a litany of people that are
Mhm.
on a list that
Yeah,
are saying, hey, I will carry your baby for you.
that's right.
And then there's like no emotion, so they say. I don't know how there could not be some sort of emotional tethering. I
Yeah.
don't get it. I don't.
Maybe that's part of the soul contract,
Hey,
you
hey,
know?
there it is. Maybe that's their assignment.
That's
Maybe
their
that's their
assignment.
assignment.
That's them as the surrogate and the children that come through them. That is their soul contract that I'm not going to have an emotional contact connection with this vessel.
Hmm.
This is just the portal I'm coming
Right, that I
through.
need to come through. Girl,
And, you
please.
know,
Oh, now that's another book. Speaking of books, before we conclude, tell us about your book and what's inside the pages of your book. Look at
excellent. So it's
that.
called
Adoptee
the Self
Self
Love
Love Workbook.
Workbook. And it is an affirmational journey. It's set up to be a year-long journey of affirmations to bring you from that place of not knowing who you are into alignment with self-love, with that energetic part of you, so that you can begin to move closer and connect with the whole of who you are. Affirmations were the very first thing when I got out of my toxic marriage, I turned to, and they have been a part of my life experience every single day for the past 10 plus years. I
Give
use
us a couple.
affirmations every day.
Give us
Um,
a couple.
a couple, everything always
Or
works
from the
out for
book.
me. Oh, from the book, absolutely. So let's go with,
Put
oh,
that
this
up one more
is,
time and give it a minute so people can get their eyes fixated on that. Do
yeah,
you see that, brains? All right.
Adoptee Self Love Workbook. And I'm going to start with, oh, here we go. Week 7. My present and future are determined by my self love.
Hmm.
My present and my future are determined by my self love. There is now, only now, 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 now. Your past and future don't actually exist. The past is memory and the future is imagination. Which would you rather create from?
You know,
Would you rather create from your memory or
yeah,
would you rather create from your imagination?
and you've got a starting point.
And you've got a starting point.
And you
Right.
have an opportunity to reframe the narrative.
Yes.
You are who you are. Okay.
Right.
And I don't like it when people say, oh, just get over it. No, I got to get
No,
with it.
get
I
with
can't
it.
necessarily get over it
No,
because it's a part of who I am.
that's right.
It's in my DNA now.
It is. And I really believe it's not a question of going over things, getting over things. We go through life. Life is a journey. So any adventures, any adversaries, anything that we are experiencing, it is a journey through, not a journey over or around. We have to go through it. We go through grief, we go through joy, we go through pain, we go through learning and growth, all of that. So I'll give you one more. This is week 25. So we jumped from week 7 to about halfway through the year. I release my feelings of rejection and abandonment, knowing I am loved and supported by the universe and my higher self.
It's a reflection back to self, Brains.
Right.
Because you're here now.
You're here right now.
You're like the
If you're
mail.
hearing
You've
this,
been delivered.
you have, Brains. You've got it. And then I'll give you one right towards the end. This is one that I absolutely love. It's week 48. I release the chains of self-doubt with love, embracing my true potential and power.
You got to let it go. And that was one of the things I got in a meditation a few weeks ago. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Gus, that's what I call God, universe, and spirit. Gus told me to surrender.
Yes.
I said surrender.
I'm
not giving up the white flag. That's not me. But when I thought about it, it was like, I got this. Yes. Take care of it. Just relax. And surrender. You don't have to control everything all the time.
No.
They're about to come out with self-driving cars. You don't have to be in control. Let somebody cook for you.
That's right.
Let somebody love you.
Yes.
Let somebody speak on your behalf. Go on. I love that. I don't know if you watch them, but they are on Instagram. And I don't know who this guy's voice is. I got to figure it out. But he tells you how to live like an alpha, how to forgive, how to be motivated, how to be inspired. You take the wheel. Let somebody else take the wheel.
That's right.
And loving yourself from that perspective is huge. The Adoptee Self Love Workbook. Get involved. I had another guest on my show, and I'm going to connect you with her, Kat. She was a facilitator for adoptees, and she helped connect families with these adopted children, and she wrote a fictional book based upon her experience, but she also had infertility issues of her own.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just a whole, again, it's a chessboard of the mind. Yeah. But you will win. You will win. And just be easy with yourself. Just be gentle with yourself.
That's right.
If you overthink it, you're going to mess it up every time.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Kat Linquist.
You're very welcome.
Again, we are going to get offline here and talk about when we're going to meet. We're going to have to sit up there and watch the sunset, meditate with some ice cream.
Oh, and I'll read you some of my poetry because I sprinkle that throughout the book.
Oh, well, I definitely want to hear it because, I'm a poet too, so I'm going to bring some for you. So
lovely.
Great quality time together. Brains really kind of look deep and go beyond the superficial. Go to the supernatural. Well, send somebody some grace. If it's not you, it's your neighbor. But again, be that open heart. Be that vessel. Tell my brains how to get in contact with you, Kat.
The best way to get in contact with me is to check out my website, which is movingbeyondadoption.com. movingbeyondadoption.com. You can also email me at Kat, @movingbeyondadoption.com.
Well, we are going to move beyond adoption, and we are going to move into acculturation and assimilation, because if we don't, it will be self-assassination. Thank you so much, Brains. I love you from the bottom of my socks because my heart is just not deep enough. How about that? Yeah. Thank you so much, Kat. Brains, go in, love, like, share, and subscribe. Follow Kat, follow me. We want to raise those numbers. We have just been listed in the top 10 on Listen Notes for podcasts. We are doing it overtime. I love you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you, April.
All right. Bye-bye.